Good morning, Nigeria, and I make you welcome. This is Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television from the heart and economic hub of Nigeria, Lagos. I am Henry Igwebike. Let's kickstart today, interestingly, with our newspapers, and right after that will be our main conversation also for today. Do well to be part of what we do. Have a say in what we say. You can always find reaches when you visit us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. Very so honored to have with me today, joining us via Zoom, Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid, Barrister at Law, Public Affairs Analyst. To see through all that we have, and equally joining us is journalist, Public Affairs Analyst Emeka Madunagu. Thank you so very much, gentlemen, for being here. Truly do appreciate you both.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Emeka.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you so very much,
Good morning, Barrister.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Good morning.
Welcome back from Enugu.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so very much. So let's kickstart today, interestingly, with the Daily Trust newspaper. Big story. I can end banditry in 2 months. And that's coming from Zamfara State Governor. And he has a quote to that particular submission, and I would love to read the quote here. He said, "I swear to Almighty Allah, wherever bandits leaders are located within Zamfara State, I know it, and if he goes out, I know. With my mobile phone, I can show you where these bandits are today." That's coming from Zamfara State Governor. And one would wonder, if he has all of these facts to himself, why then is he finding it difficult to collaborate with the Nigerian army to see to the end to insurgency and banditry in Zamfara State? I'd love to start with you, Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid.
I think I've not read the entire story, but from the previous story that I've been hearing about that, he probably is talking about the fact of obstacle or reason why he's not able to end it. That he's talking about lack of freedom or access to the right personnel. That's why he's clamoring for the state police. Probably there's no proper cooperation from the military, or probably there was a delay. There have been delay in terms of getting those in charge. You know, in our system, the governors are just there as a commander-in-chief on paper. They have no authority to command anybody when it comes to security, except they have interest that align with the police in charge. That's when they can give instruction and they will obey. When they see that it's not in line with what they are interested in, or what probably there is no, they are waiting for body language from above, and it's not coming, they will not do much. So it probably is saying because there's no freedom in that regard. There's no proper authority to command those who are supposed to fight the bandits or war. Probably is saying that, like I said, I've not read the entire story. I'm just giving my position based on what I had him say before now. He talks about that. He talks about the constraint of trying to get in touch with those who are supposed to fight the war, but who sometimes the difficulty they engage or they encounter in getting approval to do what they want to do. So probably is clamoring for authority to have his own police and have his own people that can fight the banditry. So that probably is saying that if he has that opportunity, if he has that under his control, he'll be able to bring them out. Probably he's been giving the information to the right people, and they are not doing the right thing, or they are not doing what they want them to do. And since he cannot control them, he will have to do the way he likes, what he has in his hand. For me, like I said, he may know what he's saying, but it's not too clear to me as to why he's not able to achieve that for now.
Very true, Barrister. Emeka, of course, it's obvious that he knows what he is saying. For him to have said this, it means he understands where the problem is and knows where to nip the problem in the bud. The question again is, why is the military not working with him to get these people out of Zamfara State and equally the entirety of the northeastern region of Nigeria? Emeka, are you there?
Oh, are you? I didn't know you were asking me.
Yes,
Okay.
actually,
Now let me tell you very clearly.
Yes, directing this question to you.
Very clearly, I'm not surprised you made that statement, and I'll reply even without reading the story. Though I've read the story, but even without reading the story, if you woke me up from the bed, I'll answer the question straight. Look, the war on insurgency is being frustrated by politicians, by people in high authority who are benefiting from this insurgency. And I tell you, this insurgency in Zamfara State is being fueled by illegal mining. Take it from me, by illegal mining. And so every effort is being made using these bandits to frustrate, the anti-insurgency efforts. And I tell you, the governor actually raised a formidable team, of vigilantes, well-trained and armed to confront these people. Also, he also mobilized villagers to say, look, take back your territory. And some months ago, some villagers, were able to get rid of a number of these insurgents in one attack. They took them by surprise, they ambushed them, and they, wiped them off the face of the earth. Look at not long ago, vigilantes who were out for bandits were bombed. Some of them were bombed by a Nigerian Air Force jet. The later said it was a mistake. Another story said that the vigilantes, that they ignored, advice not to stray to that territory. All these things. That's why the governor in the story said political interference is hindering his effort. Look, you see these governors. Let me tell you something. And I challenge anybody to counter me. You see Nigeria's problems. Name any problem in Nigeria today. I tell you, each can be cleared today. Today is Thursday, right? The 4th of September, 2025 can be cleared today. Any kind of problem can be cleared. If we can tame the greed and wickedness of people in authority, that's the truth. There is no cutting it. Name any problem for me, and I will tell you why I say it will be. You see this banditry, you see this kidnapping and all that can be brought to an end if you empower, if you remove the interference of people using the security agencies to block the vigilantes. And then if the vigilantes focus on this issue of, instead of being distracted like the fellows in Anambra State who are now running an agenda that is different from that of ending insecurity. If they focus, I tell you what, the forest guards brought, that President Bola Tinubu has been talking about recently. It was, in response to moves by governors to secure their forests, especially governors, a governor like that of Zamfara, because he spoke out clearly that we'll deal with the forest, with these criminals in the forest. And Zamfara has an extensive forest, forgotten the name, that rolls straight, so these people can hide in these places and illegally mine gold and mine that. So when they need food, they raid the villages, take, grains forcefully, take cattle, and run it, and even kidnap some of the people just to sustain a reign of terror. The governor said it not long ago that these bandits are people they know their parents, that they went to the same school with some of these, bandits, so they know them in and out. That is why governors should be rightly empowered as the chief security officers of their states to deal with security issues in this. And it's interesting that President Tinubu has now said that he will set up a state police, because you see the federal police has actually lost it. Is it with IG Betokun fighting Omoyele Sowore every day, fighting imaginary enemies? Where will he have the time to focus on the real security challenges of the nation? The man is tired. He should go. He's sufficiently distracted from the duty of policing the nation, and that's why you see all these things going on. I just pardon me a few seconds. Look at the Delta State. See what Harrison Gwamishu, a civil society advocate, is doing. He was shouting about kidnapping, but within a few weeks, he has been able to mobilize the military, the security agencies, to flush out kidnappers. Now he said that these kidnappers have fled to Edo State and Kogi State. So that is why also, you and I, as members of civil society, we must make sure we contribute our own. We must speak up and make sure that these people do their job and that we flush out criminality from this country. Thank you.
We hear some of these things, and while we have a fully budgeted military and the police force, budgeted with trillions of naira, in 2025 budget, the police has been given 1.6 trillion naira, while the military is given multi-trillions of naira. And one would wonder where all the money is going to, and if the federal government is not even complicit to some of the things happening allegedly in Nigeria. But Barrister, I'd love us to take to Vanguard newspaper for today. And on the top strip there, you see price hike, no subsidy on CNG, says federal government. Barrister, is President Bola Tinubu playing with Nigerians here? I remember when he removed subsidy, he said that CNG was the only alternative and begged Nigerians, pleaded on Nigerians to convert their cars from PMS to CNG. And now from 230 naira, it is now 450 naira, standard cubic meter. Is the presidency playing with Nigerians, Barrister?
He's not playing. He's still not up to petroleum tariff. The president has a. You see, we have a system where those in government think they play our heads. That is the sweet language. They play our heads and then they try to think they are wise. And most people who are followers or who are sympathizers or who are not who are sentimental will go by whatever they say. You will recall that when the president introduced what's it called, subsidy is gone, and then there was hardship. One of the measures he set up was there will be so number of CMG buses. How many did you see in town today from the government? And there will be a number of CNG stations that will be established. How many did you see them established? They want to push it into it, and then thereafter they remove their hands. You remember when we are using charcoal, that they want to introduce a gas, everybody to be using gas in their houses. You know how they make it so simple and so easy to access and to get. Now, but they were even sharing it free of charge at that time. Today, now they are increasing it. So they see the mentality of government trying to make money from everywhere is the reason why you are seeing this. The major target is about money generation. Once they want to generate money, and they don't care about the consequences. So if you don't care about the consequences of the citizen, you see this kind of a thing. So they've realized that people are now using the CNG, and therefore there's a need for them to make more money from it, and therefore that will come up. So yeah, I'm not surprised anyway. It's our system, and that's the way we do things in Nigeria. It's not only the president, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. Other previous presidents have been doing the similar thing. They don't keep to their promises. But this government's own is too much in a way. They just want to make money, and just like yesterday or so, the president said they've exceeded they've surpassed their revenue expectation. Yet Nigerians are not seeing it. If you have surpassed your revenue generation expectation, why are you not investing those money in things that will affect the life of the citizen? So for me, it's not about the people. It's about what they can get and the money they can get, and that's why we are seeing that.
Mecca, I would love you to take on this particular matter. How do you think those who have converted their vehicles to CNG, how do you think they would feel now? Because this is just about the starting. They say by the time investors fully get into this sector, that CNG might rise to about 600 to 650 naira, and before you know, it will compete with PMS.
No, I wouldn't look at it that way. CNG is a commodity. If there are more investors, if there are more investments in CNG, the price will drop. But the issue is this. Why I never encouraged CNG was because I knew that it's not sustainable, for us to use gas for different purposes. we export LNG, we process LPG, we now process CNG. So when you aggregate all of these things, then you'll see why it's still a difficult terrain. So far, only $1 billion, has been invested in the sector. $1 billion is not enough to, make the sector sustainable. To make the business sustainable to the extent that, prices will be, at a level that, can ensure affordable prices. And that was why, when President Tinubu and his people were promoting CNG, I said no. I said it at different fora. I said it should be restricted to trucks. Because over time, no matter, when prices start, become undulating, it is those trucks, since they are used for commercial purposes, they are the ones that can cover the cost, whatever the price is. I said it then, and this is what is happening now. You will see that commercial, entities that use CNG, they will not complain. They won't complain. Bus drivers, for instance, won't complain because, they are still charging fares like those their colleagues who are still, who still use diesel or petrol. PMS. So, but you will see those who use trucks for long haul. It's even cheaper for them. And, it ensures that at least they can run easily, in terms of, deal with the problems on the roads, the bad roads. So even when they're in traffic, or, and you can alternate between CNG and PMS or CNG and diesel. So more investment. Yes, more investments we expect will bring down the price. But the problem we have in the power sector, gas plants. The federal government now recently said it would disconnect Gencos from the gas network because there's a hanging debt of over 2 trillion naira, owed by the Gencos, including the federal government, because the federal government has 40%, has a 40% shareholding in each of the Gencos. So far, only 390 million out of 2.4 trillion has been paid. That's just like a drop in the ocean now. So, so for me, CNG is not a sustainable path, in trying to provide an alternative to PMS. Now you see government saying that from January they will charge a fuel tax. All of these things are just looking for ways to maximize, the benefits in the downstream sector of the oil industry. But at the end of the day, these are not even enough. People are talking about electric cars and all. No, what we need is, a better management of the downstream sector of the oil industry. And then more concentration of population away from places like Lagos and all of that, so that people don't have to spend so much in commuting. Spread development across the country. And then in that way, investors will find a number of things to put their money into. But if you talk about CNG, I tell you what, look, people who went to Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so people who went to, change their fueling system to CNG, well, I wish them all the best, but it's not sustainable. Seriously.
Very well.
Yeah, it's
Very
not
well.
sustainable.
Unless
you are using it for commercial operation, it's not sustainable.
Very well true. It is not sustainable in Nigeria, but in other parts of the world. India, where we borrowed the technology from, a standard cubic meter, that's 1 kg of CNG, is less than 50 cents. And one would wonder if it is that cheap in India. Why then is it very expensive in Nigeria, where we readily have it in abundance? Barrister, I'd love us to take to the matter of Air Nigeria. The former minister, Sirika, blames Air Peace, United Nigeria, as man for failure of Nigerian Air. Barrister, speak to me on this. Remember, this is the man that created our website for millions of naira, borrowed Ethiopian airline, brought it to Nigeria, painted it the color of Nigeria, and said we now have a carrier. And he is today blaming Air Peace and others for the failure of the airline. Speak to me, please.
And that is all you see in a country where people go away with criminality or crime. A man that should be pulling up in somewhere is now shifting blame. When you fail in your responsibility, rather than accept failure, they will look for a way to. Did he in any way acknowledge the fact that he also failed? If he's blaming other people, because this is a man that told us we now have a carrier, and then they brought us a fake airline, aeroplane, and then in the name of these are our own. Yes. And it was unfailed by the late president, Muhammadu Buhari, may he so rest in peace. And then we were being told this is it, this is that. So much money was spent in that. In fact, about 2 billion or so, or more than that, I can't remember the amount figure, was spent on just ordinary designation of logo. And people were complaining at that time. But most people were saying, no, this is it. Today, he has a mouth to even explain and to even criticize anybody in that sector. He was in charge. He could not do anything tangible. And if he's saying Air Peace or other airline he mentioned are the problem, what was he doing at that time when he was there? Is he saying that they are more powerful than him, or they have the more responsibility? He cannot discharge his responsibility as minister to put them in order. You see, sometimes I don't like commenting on this kind of a story because I do not see any sense in what he has said. With due respect, what he has said is just trying to make statements that is not. He want to become relevant again, and now we are discussing him, and he wants to be known. And 2027 is coming. He probably is thinking of contesting for a governor or a position in the state. So he wants to be known again, wants to be seen, and he's bringing up issues so that people will discuss it. Let's just move on. This is sort of not punishing people for committing crime. You see them do become more bolder. They will be bold in what they are doing, and create more crisis in that respect.
Very true. The country that is Nigeria, a country where we gift those who have committed crime and ask those who have contributed to Nigeria and punish them. Very sad, really. Emeka, I'd love you to take on this particular matter. I do not know why Nigerian government had refused to allow private individuals run the Nigerian Air. Rwanda Air is managed 100% by Qatar. And Ethiopian Air is equally managed by Emirates. And they're doing awesomely well. Why can't we allow for an indigenous company like Air Peace to maybe manage the Nigerian Air? Or is it another issue of nepotism that had allowed us not to do what we should do?
I'm sorry to disappoint you. A national carrier won't work in Nigeria.
Why?
That's the truth.
Why?
Did you see a report? It will not now because we do not. Our government officials don't have the incentive to make things work ordinarily. So, a national carrier, I tell you, the debts that will be owed that carrier within 2 years by government agencies, honestly, will force it to close down. That's the truth. I mean, look at the domestic debt in Nigeria. You know how much is owed contractors? How much is owed vendors, suppliers? We're talking of domestic debt, I think about 170 trillion naira.
Wow. And
then, are we, I mean, you want to now put your head into, I mean, do you want to now put your money into such a thing, and say that you are, I mean, you're going to run a national carrier business. That's suicidal now. I mean, that's suicidal, because, I mean, if you look at it, the country's domestic debt currently stands at 78.76 trillion as at March this year. Yesterday, indigenous contractors held, a protest at the headquarters of the Federal Ministry of Finance. demanding payment that they should be paid. Huh? And these contractors, not just roads, so different kinds of contracts. State governments that collected tax on credit and gave traditional rulers, gave to judges and others. How many of them paid? Those debts are still there. Those debts are part of the 78.76 billion, domestic debt. Do you know how many companies have closed down because of domestic debt? And you want to do national care? Look, it is better the way it is. Let private businesses just be running it, because there was even a report yesterday that foreign carriers were making more money than Nigerian carriers.
Yeah.
Because they are better structured. In terms of cargo, how many Nigerian airlines actually are doing cargo? None. None is fully invested in cargo. If you remember Bellevue of old, Bellevue had a robust cargo business. But look at them today, how many of them are actually robustly engaged in cargo business? So you find out that the field is still dominated by DHL and UPS. DHL and UPS. And that is, you have a lot of money in cargo business. So what are you talking about? Cargo, people will always send items. But what is the passenger traffic? How many Nigerians can afford airfares that are in excess of 200,000 return trip just within the country? So, but you look at cargo, you can send cargo for as little as from here, from Nigeria to UK. You can send cargo as little as 3,000 naira per kg. Yes. You can send express delivery as little as 35,000 naira per kg. Do you understand? But we are not playing in that sector and other aspects of the aviation sector. So when we're talking of national carrier, you just want people to go and just sink money, just sink money and end up like Nigeria Airways of old. So let's just leave that idea, because it's not going to work. You want to compete with Ethiopian Air that's dominating the Middle East and Eastern and Southern African route. Where is South African Airways? Where is Ghana Airways? Where is Gambia Airways? Where are all those fancy national carriers? They are dead. So that business, you got to have dollars, millions of dollars to run in it. And our local carriers, sorry, they then just remain with the, peace be still kind of, at least they keep exploiting Nigerians. They've already fixed airfare from December 1 at over 300,000 naira. That is where we thrive, exploiting those who are, who are helping our businesses. That's how we thrive. But any other thing, sorry, we are not ready. Thank you.
Very so well, Emeka, and we have to just leave it at this particular point. We have other interesting stories from other newspapers, but for the want of time, we just have to leave it at this point, and truly do hope that maybe in the future, there's a beauty that comes with a national carrier. The Nigerian Air, or the Nigerian Airways of the old, was a pride to Nigeria in the 70s and early 80s. And nothing would have stopped us from still having a Nigerian Airways, but because of non-intentional leadership, it has killed the business, and therefore we still do not have it. But of course, it's the same country, and I truly do believe that we can equally get it started if we're intentional about it. So just to let you know, folks, that both Barrister Tunji and Emeka will be here to take us on our main conversation when we return. Tinubu vows to establish state police amid rising insecurity in the country. In a bit, it's still Enterprise Morning. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.